We can try again. We can try again for later in March, maybe.
Yep.
I know you're pretty busy with visitors, but we'll see.
Yep. Ron, are we good? Ron, I can't hear you. You're muted. Ron, you're muted. There we go.
2 members and 1 guest.
Sorry, how many? What?
22
How many members?
and 1 guest.
And who's the guest?
Graham Clark.
Graham, oh, Graham, no, that's from John. Okay. Are we ready to start?
Yep. Okay. Give it a drink, John.
All righty.
Okay. If you guys can see me. Okay. If we can get started, everybody, if you can hear me, thank you. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Rotary meeting for Wednesday.
Meeting's on.
What's that? Are we good? I'd like to welcome everybody to the Rotary meeting for February 21st, 2024. We have a couple guests joining us. I'd like to recognize our speakers for today. I'd like to recognize our District Governor, John Burns, and our Assistant Governor, Liz Compton. And we also have a guest of John McIntosh's, Graham Clark, so welcome to them. And then we also have Joanna, who's been with us a couple times, and there's a potential member who is online with us here. So how do we welcome our guests? Thank you for coming. So I am going to ask Jim if he could do our reflection for today.
Well, District Governor John, President David, and fellow Rotarians and guests. Just want to have a brief reflection on the time of the year and this week. February 23rd is actually the birthday of Rotary. And a good time for us to reflect on the motto of Rotary, service above self, and to think that Rotary has been providing service to local communities where the clubs are located, and also internationally for all those 120 odd years. And so we're just take a moment to think of the service that Rotary has provided and the satisfaction that we as Rotarians get from providing that service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Much appreciated. I'd also like to recognize people's birthday coming up. So I don't think Sandy's, unless he's in person, Sandy Loudon is actually celebrating his birthday today. So happy birthday to him today officially. My birthday is actually next week on February 27th. Sarah's is March 1st. Ganezi's coming up on March 3rd, and Laura is on March 4th. Now, in our board meeting last night, we had this discussion because I think some of our newer members aren't aware of it. But one of the reasons I want to recognize people's birthday is that it's a great time to celebrate. Can you hear me, Ron? It's a great way for people to celebrate their birthdays, but also we as Rotarians are encouraged or expected, I want to say encouraged as Rotarians, to give to our foundation every year. And for a lot of newer members, they may not recognize that this is what we call every Rotarian every year. So EREY, when you hear us reference it. And the expectation is that every Rotarian every year would give a minimum of $100 US to the foundation, because the foundation is so important to what we do as Rotarians. The other piece that people are sometimes asked if they'd like to, and polio is still important to us to eradicate it from the world, is to also give $30 towards that. So it is encouraged on your birthday, because it comes every year, that you'd make a donation to our foundation of $130 Canadian, or the equivalency, whatever it would be for the US amount. And then they would give that donation every 6 months to the Rotary International on our behalf, and you'd be recognized for that towards your Paul Harris Fellow Award, which for every $1,000 you give towards the foundation, you get recognized with the Paul Harris Fellow. So I just wanted to bring that up because it did come up in our board meeting last night. Okay, and with that, Ron, if you will help me out here, are there any happy bucks within the room that people want to recognize?
I've got happy bucks.
Hold on, Stephen.
No, put my name down, because I'll tell you why, for $10 rather than giving you $10, because I owe 20. No, I owe you 20 for the tag as well, so put me down for $30. But for the $10, $3.34 to Ed Lee, who put on a fantastic event at the Winter Garden Elgin, and it was a wonderful evening, as good as the first behind the scenes he did, and it is spectacular. And if you haven't seen it, it's really a gift to Toronto. $3.33 to Norma, who was kind enough to take names and get us reservations at the restaurant and redo the reservations. And finally, $3.33 to the anonymous person who tripped the waitress who spilled the beer, who got us free desserts.
What, Stephen?
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put in $5 here, and just found out some good news that on behalf of the district 7070 Environmental Club, I've been working with folks at York University and kind of an international network, University of Iceland, among others, some leading NGOs around, and District 7070 is mentioned there. We've got a grant of $2.5 million over 7 years. I work on the ecological footprint tracker, and I think with a smile and a couple of other things, it's not bad. And the ramifications still haven't hit me, but I think this is a huge opportunity. So looking forward to talking more about that in the months and years to come.
I have $5 to thank Jennifer Billendup for doing the sending out our tax receipts online. So if you should have received your tax receipts, and if you haven't, please see Jennifer. Thank you.
Happy bucks in the room? Yep.
Hi, this is worth $20. This is an advance notice of a golf event we're going to have on Tuesday, September 17th. It's an 8:30 shotgun at the Richmond Hill Golf and Country Club. We are partnering with 1 or 2 or maybe 3 other Toronto area clubs. In the past, we partnered with the Brampton Flower City Club, and we did that for several years. It fell apart when COVID hit, but now we're starting up again. It's a fun fellowship and fundraising event, and we hope, as many of you have done in the past, we'll form a foursome and participate in that event. And Walter is always there to take pictures. That's what's fun. What's the date again? Tuesday, September 17th. And Walter, you've been good at putting together foursomes in the past too.
I think that's it for everyone in the room, David. So is there anybody on Zoom?
Is there anybody on Zoom who has any happy bucks they want to share? No? Okay, thank you, Ron. So on to our introductions for today. So I assume Liz is there, correct?
Sorry, David?
Liz Compton is there, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Of course.
So it is, thank you. So it is my pleasure to introduce our Assistant Governor, Liz Compton, today. Liz is a leader, an entrepreneur, a mother, a grandmother, and a proud Rotarian. She has built a very successful residential real estate business that she founded in 2004, working with Royal LePage Signature. Her son, Julian, joined her in 2013, and Team Compton was born. In 2022, Amber, Julian's partner, joined the business, and Liz's goal from day one was to grow a sustainable business and build generational wealth for her family. Liz's love of Rotary began many years ago in 1992 on the beautiful island of St. Lucia. A new club in the north of the island was just being chartered, the Rotary Club of Gross Islet, and Liz was asked to join this club. She didn't know anything about Rotary. I wasn't sure if she would join, but she agreed to meet for lunch. When Liz was asked to introduce herself, after which she said, "I'm here to do whatever I can to help," a Rotarian was born. During this time, Liz truly understood what Rotary stood for and what a difference it can make to the community. Liz made lifelong friendships through her Rotary experience in St. Lucia. Fast forward to 2019, she decided to join Rotary again, realizing that Rotary had been resting in her heart for quite some time. Liz joined the Rotary Club of Toronto Leaside and never looked back. She became president in July of 2020 and continued being president until January 2023. Liz became an assistant governor in 2022, supporting us and the Toronto Sunrise Club. Liz loves this role. Getting to know and understand clubs from this vantage point has been a wonderful experience. Clubs as Rotarians are unique. Being open to our differences is Rotary. Liz has said a number of times, the thread that binds us as Rotarians is the need to give back. Liz was honored with a Paul Harris Fellow awarded in 2023 by her club, and she understands the significance of this award and will continue to uphold Rotary values and do her part wherever she is able. I'm not sure many of you are aware of this, but Liz is looking forward to her new role as the district governor for the 2026-2027 Rotary year, with a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, membership, public image, and our foundation. She looks forward to serving District 7070. And I'd like to end this with a quote that she lives by from the Dalai Lama: "An open heart is an open mind." So with that, I'd like to call up Liz to introduce our DG, John Burns.
You gotta lower it for me. I don't know. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. I have the honor of introducing I'm just gonna put that there, our district governor, John Burns. John was born in Scotland, if you didn't realize that, and emigrated to Canada and is now a proud Canadian citizen.
Liz, you're muted. You got muted somehow. There we go.
Okay.
Good.
I start again?
Yep.
Okay. I have the honor of introducing John Burns, our district governor. John was born in Scotland and emigrated to Canada and is now a proud Canadian citizen. He is married to Pauline Calvert, a longtime Rotarian and past president of the Bowmanville Club, 2000 to 2001. They are the proud parents of 2 children, Rachel and Adam, and are grandparents to 4 grandchildren. Rachel Boyd, true to family tradition, is now a most successful past president of the Rotary Club of Bowmanville 2022 to 23, and I may add, is an assistant governor as well. Both Pauline and John retired from their respective careers in 2014 and now live in Newcastle and Wilmot Creek, a grouping of more than 1,600 residents. Both are very involved in many activities, and volunteering is a huge part of their days. Playing golf and traveling are much enjoyed when time permits, whenever that is.
Not this year.
No, not this year. John's worldwide career extended over 40 years and was largely centered in the wood-based panel board industry. He served as a negotiator, a problem solver, and a manager of 400+ people, as well as in project management, and was also a self-employed consultant. Many of those skills are employed as he serves as our district governor 2023-24. Just as an interesting aside, John's second language is German. With John's retirement in 2014, he was able to dedicate more time to volunteering, and he quickly became a committed Rotarian with the Bowmanville Rotary Club, serving in many capacities, including chair of the new member committee, director of international service, a president-elect, and then president in 2018-2019. Becoming an assistant governor meant supporting the Rotary clubs of Oshawa, Parkwood, Bowmanville, and Portis. And in 2021-22, he was named as the district governor nominee, and the rest is history. We wish John a most successful and exciting year, and we are looking forward to working with him as we create hope in the world. John, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Yes, you can hear the Scottish accent, which I'm proud of, and I therefore don't apologize for it. So I sympathize with everyone who lives in the city. The traffic coming in here was horrendous, and finding a parking place was just as much so. So I really sympathize with all of you. A couple of years ago, I got a phone call one morning from District Governor Ron Dick, and it was at 6 o'clock in the morning. And he said to me, Sean Connery's dead. You'll have to take his place. Anyway, this kind of stuck with me. And I introduced myself at the International Assembly, and I'll do it here in this fashion. The name is Burns, John Burns, Special Agent 7070. So believe me, they will remember me. This year's Rotary theme, Create Hope in the World. There's a story behind the selection of this theme. Oops. It's not working. No. Hopefully it does. No. You switch it now. We did have it working earlier, folks.
Because you were in the city.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Welcome to Toronto.
There you go. Right. In 2006, Gordon McInally, the current president of Rotary International, visited the village of Ban Taling Chan in Thailand, where Rotary members had provided new homes, a meeting hall, childcare and healthcare facility following the tsunami of late 2004. You can see from the slide the kind of damage that there was. There, he was approached by a woman who looked as worn as you'd expect someone who'd faced what she had. The woman offered him a beautiful seashell. Next slide, please. This beautiful seashell. She explained that the shell had been in her possession for more than 30 years. It was one of her very few remaining possessions. Initially, he was reluctant to accept it, but she insisted on giving it to him as a token of her gratitude for what Rotary had done for her. Later on in the tour, he saw the woman again. And he learned that she had lost her husband, her daughter, and her son in the tsunami. She told him that the disaster had taken everything. She lost her family, her home, her livelihood, and worst of all, she had lost hope and all reason to continue living. But she went on to tell him that Rotary, thanks to all that we had done to rebuild her community, had restored her optimism. She told him we had given her hope. The memory of the lady from Thailand made him realize what we should be seeking to do at this time. It made him realize what our call to action is. It made him realize what our theme should be. So Gordon was delighted to tell the Rotary world that our theme for 2023 to 24 will be create hope in the world. The next slide, please. And this is the theme. I have, excuse me, I have a banner to give to the club and also this year's theme pins for all the members, which we'll leave over there and you guys can get them later. So, and the next slide, please. So, one of the things that Gordon stressed was the need for continuity. Some of our best work may be in supporting the continued efforts of others. Continuity means advancing the good ideas of leaders who came before you. So let's build upon what President Jennifer and other Rotary leaders have started and make it possible for even greater achievements ahead. So much of the work that I will do and that everyone in Rotary should do is all about continuity. And the next slide, please. Over the past several years, we have seen this commitment to continuity in action, as one Rotary president after another has made, kept, and built on promises to empower Rotaract. The results have been astonishing. And Rotaractors continue to encourage us with their eagerness, not just to be full partners in Rotary, but to be leaders. Now it's up to us to make sure that Rotary and Rotaract clubs continue to find new ways to collaborate and support each other. And the next slide. Another great example of continuity is empowering girls. President Jennifer set a wonderful example of this when she decided to continue President Shaker's program, a commitment and in many respects, Rotary has been building upon for years. It just took Shaker to name it and expand it. We need to work together and build upon what both these presidents have done to help girls across the world grow into strong and empowered women. And the next slide. We also need to fully support all the progress our organization has made to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in everything that we do. Fully supporting DEI doesn't just mean increasing numbers. Although these numbers are very important, the most important aspect of DEI is making Rotary an open, inclusive organization that embraces the best people, the best ideas, and the best partnerships, no matter where they come from. People need to be able to look at Rotary and see themselves, and it's up to us to ensure that they do so. With recent findings of polio vaccine-derived virus in sewers in major metropolitan areas around the world, attention has once again shifted towards eradicating this terrible disease once and for all. And when that happens, Rotary will deserve enormous historical credit. So this is the time for us to go beyond what's necessary year to year and make sure that we provide every resource necessary to succeed as quickly as possible. I need your help in creating a new sense of urgency to create hope that we will finish the job on polio before even more outbreaks threaten the children of the world. I need your help to bring Rotary's dream to life. Key to the success is ensuring the strategy is fully implemented in all areas and is fully resourced. Failure to implement strategic approaches, however, leads to an ongoing transmission of the virus. Endemic transmission of wild poliovirus is continuing in the areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan. Failure to stop polio in these last remaining areas could result in global resurgence of the disease. That is why it's critical to ensure that polio is eradicated once and for all. The next slide. On this slide, which I first saw at the district conference, you can see iron lungs. Some of you are old enough to know what these things are. As a child, I remember at least 3 people in my primary school who ended up in one of these. We don't want to see a recurrence of that. Children tend to be the ones who contact the virus more than adults, and children suffer more than the adults do. I've been preaching for the last 8 months that if every member of our district was to donate $10, not a lot of money. As I once said, that's like 4 Timmy's coffees, and someone told me, or 2 Starbucks coffees. Anyway, that would give $20,000 just from this district. And with the Gates Foundation, that turns into $60,000. You can do a hell of a lot of vaccinations with $60,000. So I urge you to donate, even if it's only $10. I know times are tough, but $10, not a lot of money. It's the only way to avoid the return of the historic times of the past, such as during the 50s, as you can see from that slide. At that time, 350,000 cases of polio a year. Currently, we have less than 20. However, it only takes 1 case to spread. Create hope in the world. This is how Rotary brings lasting change to the world, one newly created hope at a time. And the theme also begins to explain how we help create a similar kind of change within ourselves. Because for many people on this planet, lost hope is not just a function of material poverty. All of us face challenges that threaten our well-being. Just as it takes tremendous courage to wage peace, so too is brave to reach out and admit that you need help. The next slide, please. To make matters worse, in many parts of the world, asking for help, especially in mental health, is considered a weakness. But nothing could be further from the truth. It's brave to be vulnerable and to admit you don't have all the answers. Reaching out for help is courageous, and continuing on a path towards wellness is even more so. You'll be hearing more about some of the steps that we will be taking over the next year and hopefully beyond to help improve the mental health system, not only for all Rotarian members, but for our communities as well. Gordon McInally shared with us a very personal story at the International Assembly. He talked of Ian. And in that auditorium with its 6 large screens and over 1,000 people in attendance, we saw a glimpse of Ian's life.
Sophie.
A vibrant young man, attending the same schools as Gordon. They played college rugby together, partied, and did all the wild and crazy things that young folks do. I seem to remember some of that myself. Ian was very successful. University degree, high-profile job, and we watched on the screen at glimpses of his life. We were enraptured in the story when Gordon tells us that 6 years ago, when Ian was in his early 50s, he went on a business trip to San Diego, a trip he never returned from, because it was here that Ian took his own life. The audience gasped, and it was then that with breaking voice, Gordon revealed Ian was his brother. Mental illness knows no boundaries, and all families can be touched by this unspoken and devastating disease. The next slide. So, these are our actions for the year ahead, that we help bring peace to the world and soothe those affected by conflict, and that we help each other and our communities deal with our own internal struggles, that we end the stigma associated with asking for help. In all these actions, the goal is to create hope, to help the world heal from destructive conflicts, and in turn, to help us achieve lasting change in ourselves. Rotary helps create the conditions for peace, opportunity, and a future worth living by continuing what we do best, by remaining open and willing to change, and by keeping our focus on building peace in the world and within ourselves. Rotary helps create a more peaceful world and a more hopeful world. As Rotarians, I urge you to create hope in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Are there any questions for John from the members on the Zoom or at the Toronto lawn?
Not a question, just a comment. I really love your focus on mental health, and I just wanted to make a comment about polio, because my brother had polio, and still today he has PPS, he has post-polio and even badger. But anyways, when I joined Rotary in Edmonton about 15 years ago, the club I belonged to, it was just expected every Rotarian every year plus $20 for polio. I thought when I came here it was the same, but I have found, and some of the members here have heard me harp on this many times, I don't understand why that can't be. If you want to make it 10, I thought it was 20. So every year I give 20 for polio. I don't know why we can't be asked. Every Rotarian, every year you're $100 and $10. As I say, I give 20 because I was under the understanding the club I belong to in Edmonton, we gave 20. And I don't understand why that isn't instigated.
Well, I've noticed that some of the clubs that I visit, when I make that comment, by the end of my speech, there is a pile of money on the tables, which I was surprised at. I expected people would go online and donate, but I really hope everyone does.
I think it should be every year. That's just my feeling.
Well, everybody's circumstances are different. And like I said, $10 is not a lot of money, but in some cases, $10 to some people is something they could use for food. We've noticed over the last 4 years that donations to Polio Plus have decreased. We feel that everyone has become complacent. It's still there. You can't destroy the virus. The virus will continue to exist. All we can actually do is to vaccinate against the virus. And to do that, we need these funds, because governments all over the world are not really putting money into this. And it would be very easy for the situation to become like it was back in the 50s. And we are filling in a gap. All the service clubs are, to fill the gaps that governments, whether it's local, provincial, or any world government, is unable to fill. So I still urge everyone to make the donation. Any other questions? No, that's good. There you go.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, thank you, John, for that. I do agree with Norma that it is something we should be able to do as a member, and I think it's been lost in translation a couple times over the last couple of years. I think it's important that we give both to the foundation and to polio, because both are in need, and it's important as Rotarians to make sure that we can do more in this world to make it a better world. And with that, I want to ask Joe Clark to come up and thank John officially for his presentation today.
District Governor John, thank you ever so much for your address. It's an inspiration to hear you talk about the challenges that face Rotary, both the challenges that we've made some progress with, but challenges that are unfinished. I particularly agree with the comments you make about mental illness. There's a lot of stress on firearms and the disaster that firearms wreaks in North America, particularly in America. Half the firearms deaths are suicides. We don't tend to remember that, and that's important. So mental illness will not be solved entirely by control of firearms alone. The other point about polio is, it's an amazing observation that when the community is faced with a challenge, often there's a surge of interest and energy devoted towards eliminating the problem, which wanes with time. And, we can get to the 90% success and people think, well, this is good enough. Well, with polio, it's not good enough. Okay. Thank you for reminding us of this, John. It's wonderful, and thank you for your inspirational talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, very much. And one last thing that I would ask John to help me with today is one of the best things we can do as Rotarians is induct a new member into our club. So I'm going to ask Paul Buccini to come up to the front and ask John to come up as well. Arthur Parks was supposed to be there today as part of the induction ceremony, but he came down ill this morning. And he wasn't sure what it was. He thought it was a cold, but we wanted to make sure that we didn't run into any issues if it potentially could have been COVID. So he's not there today. We'll reschedule his induction ceremony, but I'm pleased and honored to have Paul being inducted today. So is Paul, you up there? I can't see you. So is Paul there?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Great, Paul. So fellow Rotarians and honored guests, this is a very special day for our membership. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Toronto Eglinton, it is my privilege as president, along with the district governor, John Burns, to induct a new member today. Please allow me to introduce Paul Boccini. Paul became a member of Rotary Toronto Eglinton on October 28, 2023, and you're all probably wondering, how come it's now taken us this long to get into this point in his Rotary journey? Well, Paul was supposed to be inducted back in December, but then he was ill, and then through some logistical issues, me being in Florida, and we had to make a change in our presidency, it got a little tough trying to make this work. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to honor Paul for all his patience, to have John Burns actually induct him today. So Paul, you're beginning a great adventure in leadership, in friendship, in service to your community and to your fellow man. You will learn to apply the four-way test in all the things you think, say, and do. The Rotarian four-way test is: 1, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You have been invited to membership, and the Rotary Club of Toronto Eglinton has accepted you as a person of good character and high ethical standards, a person who has the heart of service and will represent Rotary as a leader in the community. We extend the hand of friendship and welcome you to our global community of more than 1.2 million men and women, dedicated to building a better world. You have been invited to join Rotary, but it will be through your own actions that you will become a Rotarian. Just give me a second. You make Rotary stronger by adding your skills and experience and enthusiasm to our club. You can advance communities at home and on a global scale. We encourage you to learn all you can about Rotary and to strengthen your own leadership and communication skills by actively participating in the activities of the club, including attending weekly meetings, social events, and service projects.
Well, you will be provided many opportunities through your Rotary Club and district to enhance and expand your professional and personal skills, and these opportunities can provide great value to you. You will also be provided with many opportunities to provide service to others through Rotary's 7 areas of focus, which are peace building and conflict prevention, disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, community economic development, basic education and literacy, and supporting the environment. Through your membership, you will enjoy a network of business leaders and professionals, and we commit ourselves to do our part in making you feel welcome in the club. When we join Rotary, we become part of something bigger than ourselves. Beyond enriching our own lives and the lives of our family members, the relationships we build fosters understanding across communities and cultures around the globe.
Paul, it is my pleasure to provide you with this pen.
I warmed it up. Where would you, here? Is it good? Okay, it's got major people.
By which your fellow Rotarians and the community at large will recognize you as a Rotarian. We ask you to wear it proudly. I declare you duly inducted into the Rotary Toronto Eglinton. Please help me welcome your newest inductee. Congratulations. Welcome to the
Congratulations, Paul. Paul, I will provide you with a certificate when I get back into Toronto. I just didn't have it done before this, so I will get it to you so you have it.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and with that, we're going to move on to my president's announcements. Thank you, John, for helping in that induction. Tonight, I know some of you are aware, and I think Liz is probably going to be going, I hope, Rotary Connects meeting. So a lot of you have been hearing us talk about working with other clubs, and we do this through this Rotary Connects meetings that we have on a quarterly basis. So some of our members are going to be going to that. That's kind of how we heard about the golf tournament with the Toronto East Rotary Club, and so we're going to be partnering with them and some maybe other clubs in this group to put on that golf tournament in September. I know that Nan is going over tonight so that she can talk about some of the environmental things we're going to be doing as a close group of clubs. So if anyone else is interested in going to these meetings, please let me know and we can include you in those. But I think hopefully Arthur may make it. I'm not sure because of his illness, but I know that Don's going as well as Nan. So if you're interested, please let me know. As well, on Thursday, February 22nd, District 7070 is having its Peace Forum and the Hearts and Hands for Peace at 6 p.m. via Zoom. I will include all the details on this in the follow-up email I'll send out later today. On Friday, March 8th, we have the District 7070 International Women's Day at the Global Classroom at Durham College in Oshawa, starting at 6 p.m. If you'd like to do this, go in person, you need to register this week to ensure you're counted for meals. And it is going to be a $15 registration fee. Again, I will have all the information in that in the follow-up email. There is also the worldwide broadcast, which starts at 7 p.m. And if you want to join that, you can also log on with the link that's included in my follow-up email. So if you can't make the dinner in person, you can actually go and see it online. The other thing that some of you may have been a part of, I know that Mike Moy and myself were part of this on Sunday night, but Club Runner had a presentation on their new Club Runner Nova, they call it. It is going to be a new rollout of an updated version of Club Runner. It is going to start, you're going to start seeing gradual changes come this fall, but by the end of the year, hopefully it'll be up and running. My hope is over the coming months, we will talk as a club and maybe have tutorial sessions and such on how to use some of these upgrades. But it'll be a real enhancement to Club Runner because I know it's a little bit cumbersome right now to use. I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but there is a foundation meeting today right after this meeting. Jackie's going to be hosting that at the back of the room. I'm not sure if there's anybody on Zoom who's going to be coming to that. Please let me know. And with that, because it is the third week of the month, it is our time for the International Service Committee to give us a monthly update. So I give this over to Jim.
Thank you very much, Representative David. We have a number of items to discuss today. As all of our club knows, one of our long-term international projects has been providing water and sanitation in a number of schools in Uganda. And so this is an ongoing project, and Joe keeps us informed of what's going on. I'm pleased also to announce that our club will be supporting a new project in Uganda. And this project, District Governor John, is in partnership with your club, Bowmanville, and it's the Bukarera Maternal and Child Health Project, which is a global grant. So we will be supporting that grant in the amount of $3,000. We also have other ongoing partnerships with other Rotary clubs. For instance, with Scarborough, we are continuing to support their president, Naveen Yassa, and her ongoing projects in Cairo, Egypt, with the Rising Out of the Ashes Foundation. We have a new project to bring before you today for the membership to consider. This is a project recommended by our committee and by our board, and the project is for a new vocational school development in Sierra Leone. And this has been proposed by the Canadian Society for Education in Sierra Leone, which is a registered Canadian charity, and it's being strongly supported by the Toronto Rotary Club. And so I would put a motion that we support this project in the amount of $2,500 with the money coming from our club foundation. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Lisa. And all those in favor? Any opposed? Looks like it's carried. I just have one sad note to report. We have been supporting as kind of a peace initiative in the country of Georgia, the Rotary Club of Rustavi, which has been helping Ukrainian women who are refugees in their country to get vocational skills so they can get their feet back on the ground. And unfortunately, about a week ago, one of the two key people in their club, their treasurer, to whom Lisa was about to send a transfer, died unexpectedly. So that's a sad note, and I've shared with their club our condolences. Interestingly, his son has stepped into the role. The son being somebody who's come up through Rotary, and so we now have a new person to connect with, and we'll continue to support what they're doing. So that, David and members, is my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim. Much appreciated. Are there any questions for Jim? Sorry, I don't know if you heard me. Are there any questions for Jim? No? Okay. So we have some other committee updates very quickly. So Stephen, I know you're online. Do you want to give a recap of the fundraising initiative we just did last week? Still on?
Yeah, okay, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we had an excellent turnout. First of all, despite the weather, we had about 20 people turn out. We had a wonderful, wonderful 2-hour show, a tour of the Elgin Winter Garden Theatre, which was quite incredible. I mean, the woman who did it for us, I think, has worked there for more than 20 odd years, and she had an intimate knowledge of everything. We were behind the scenes. She gave us all sorts of background. The most incredible thing to me was the fact that apparently they only broke ground at the beginning of 1913. And by the end of 1913, she assured us they were up and running. I mean, it was operating already. I mean, it seems incredible to me that they could build a place like that. Now, there was still work to be done, but they already had shows operating on the ground floor in the Elgin part of it by the end of the year in which they started building. Quite incredible that they should have achieved so much in 1 year. Anyway, it was a great, great evening. We then, about half of the participants went across the road to have dinner at a very nice restaurant, and we had fun there. And it was a thoroughly enjoyable event. As Stephen Stein pointed out earlier, there was somebody who, I don't think it was intentional, but somehow or another, one of the waitresses got tripped up and spilt the beers, and as a result of which we all ended up with free desserts. But it was a great evening, thoroughly enjoyable. The net proceeds were $425. Not a great deal of money, but then we reduced the charge in order to get a few more people involved. A great evening was had by all. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I can speak to the feedback we got on the event was fantastic, and I think it was a great fellowship as well as fundraising event. So thank you for Ed Lee and Stephen organizing that for us. And hopefully we'll have another Behind the Curtain series coming up in the spring. I have a membership committee update as membership chair. Thank you to everyone when I reached out to ask for mentors for our newer members. We've got 8 responses, and we are in the process of signing those mentors to new members of our club. I will be reaching out to you individually to see if you're comfortable with the people that we've selected for you. Anyway, that's going to be coming up in the next couple of days. So for the newer members that are in the club that don't have a mentor yet, look forward to meeting your new mentor very soon. I don't know if Josefa or anyone from the is there from the community service. Is anyone there? I know that Josefa's not on the call.
Nope.
Anyway,
Yeah, I'm here. It's Mary.
do you want to
I'm
speak
here.
to the Nellies? Do you know anything about the Nellies International Women's Day celebration?
No, I'm
Okay,
not
then I'll
currently.
okay, I'll do it then. So
Okay.
Dawn had passed along a informational sheet that I'll include in the follow-up email. But Nellies is celebrating International Women's Day, which is one of our local community charities that we support as a club, with an in-person event on March 24th from 6 to 9 p.m. It's going to be at a local in downtown Toronto. The event is free, but you must register, and the details I'll include in the link to the registration. I'll include in the follow-up email. So if that's something that you're interested in going to, look for that in the email. Before we finish up, is there anything else from anyone else who would like to speak to the membership today before we close out the meeting?
Yeah, Jackie has something to say.
Just a reminder, folks, our club is twinned with the Rotary Club of Viola in Istanbul, thanks to our wonderful community who joined us from Turkey some years ago. And on March the 15th, March the 13th, we're going to have a joint meeting on Zoom with the Viola Rotarians. And just as an aside, if you've read the recent Rotarian magazine, Istanbul has been given it has been declared the site of a new peace center. So that's really exciting news for our Rotarian partners in Viola. So remember, March 13th, we'll see you online. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else? So before we close up the day, I do want to again thank John and Liz for coming in. John, I really appreciate you driving all the way in from Bowmanville to through the Toronto traffic. We know what it's like to get here, and the parking and for the Toronto line is not great. But having that, we really appreciate you making the effort to come into the club. And it's so great to see leadership within our district participate in our club meetings. And with that, as everyone knows, next week is the 4th week of the month. So that means it's raw. So it's Rotary After Hours. We are not having a regularly scheduled meeting at the club. It is at the Duke of Kent from 5:30 to 7 p.m. It's a social event, come as you are, and you'll be paying your own food and drink, but it's a great social avenue for a lot of people who get to know other people. So that is it for this week. And we are done under the wire. It's 1:28. So I wish everyone a great week and see you next week. And for anyone who's on the foundation, please stay afterwards for that meeting. Is there anyone on the Zoom call that's on the foundation meeting? Ray, okay. Ron, I know you got your computer. I'm not sure if we can use your computer for Ray to stay on or no. You have to leave.
No, I'll stay.
Okay, great. So everyone else, thank you very much. Have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you in a week.
I had to do that. I had to do that. Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Language is German, or is that the original language?
No, I worked for 20 years.